Welcome to Finding Wendy, my journey to wellness. Thanks for tuning in. I'm your host, Wendy Lamberti, and you're in for an engaging and inspiring journey. This podcast offers a front row seat to my personal adventure, from struggling with obesity to embracing bariatric surgery and navigating the challenges, including weight regain. We'll explore real-life experiences, offer helpful tips, and share suggestions for managing weight regain and maintaining a healthy lifestyle. So let's dive in. Welcome to episode 2, Dealing with Weight Regain After Bariatric Surgery. Hi there, and welcome to Finding Wendy, my journey to wellness. I'm Wendy Lamberti, your host, and today we're diving into a deeply personal and often overlooked topic, dealing with weight regain after bariatric surgery and the sense of failure that can accompany weight regain after bariatric surgery. It's a reality many of us face, but it's rarely talked about. I've experienced it myself, and I want to share my story with you. So let's get started. So let's start with the initial highs and subsequent lows. When I first decided to undergo bariatric surgery back in 2017, I went through a year-long process of preparation, tests, and psychiatric assessments through the Toronto Western Hospital's bariatric program. I had my gastric sleeve surgery in March 2018, and I was filled with hope and excitement. My starting weight was 450 pounds. Yep. And in the 2 years following my bariatric surgery, I'd lost over 200 pounds. These results were incredible, and I felt an incredible sense of accomplishment. I felt a sense of control over my body for the first time in years. But as time went on, maintaining that weight loss became increasingly difficult. The pandemic hit, and slowly the weight started creeping on. I couldn't believe it. I was the person, indeed, that had set up a YouTube channel and was producing YouTube videos about my bariatric journey and how successful it was. And here I was regaining the weight, and the old problem was coming back of binge eating. And I felt a huge sense of disappointment and failure. The pressure of public sharing. So many people start a podcast or a YouTube channel to document their bariatric journey, full of optimism and determination, but after a couple of years, many stop posting. Why? Because weight regain brings a sense of failure and embarrassment. I felt this pressure too. Sharing your journey publicly is a double-edged sword. It keeps you accountable, but it also exposes you and your vulnerabilities. So what's the reality of weight regain? Weight regain after bariatric surgery is more common than people think. It's a reality that many of us face, yet it's often shrouded in silence. There are numerous factors that contribute to weight regain, from metabolic changes to lifestyle habits. And for seniors like myself, I'm 65, slower metabolism and mobility issues add another layer of complexity. Another factor in my own case for weight regain is the added situation of the pandemic. As I mentioned, I had my surgery in 2018, and in 2020 was the start of the pandemic. So in March 2020, the lockdown in Canada started. We could no longer go outside. We had very limited times that we could go to the grocery store. We all had to start wearing masks, and there was no real personal connection to people in person for months on end. And even in my own family, we were talking online with each other. We were all experiencing the Zoom world and becoming more and more isolated and alone at home. So what started happening in my case was also that I no longer could go to the gym. I had started a whole new gym regime during the second half of my bariatric journey, in the second year of my surgery. And I started really actually going to the gym. I started really enjoying it. And I lost 200 pounds and I felt confident enough to go to the gym as well. But this was no longer the case. So now we were back to our sedentary life. We were lonely and alone at home, getting depressed and frustrated, bored, and binge eating started to come back into my life. Sitting on the couch at night and eating snacks. I had sleeve surgery, and yes, yet my portions were very small, but I could still eat slider foods. Slider foods are foods that basically disintegrate when you eat them. So therefore, I could eat larger portions like popcorn. So smart food popcorn, ice cream, and chocolate slowly crept back into my life, my lifestyle, and so did the weight. This was very concerning and a complete disaster. Okay, so I guess we can talk about the emotional toll. The emotional toll of weight regain can be overwhelming. You know, it's easy to feel like a failure, especially when you're seeing others seemingly succeeding in their weight loss journeys. The biggest successes that I've seen in the gastric weight loss community and weight regain issues are those patients that have had gastric bypass, also called Roux-en-Y gastric bypass, which creates a smaller stomach pouch out of a portion of the stomach and attaching it directly to the small intestine. However, I had sleeve gastrectomy, also called vertical sleeve gastrectomy, which creates a smaller stomach pouch without affecting the small intestine. So your stomach's still there, but it's a much, much smaller stomach. So with sleeve surgery, they indeed removed 75% of my stomach. They took it out of my body. I know it's no longer there. So when I eat, the food still goes into my stomach. My stomach does all the digestive thing of the food and goes into the blood system and the rest. But I have a much smaller stomach now, which means that my portions are smaller. But I will talk about these two types of surgeries in another podcast episode. So, as you can imagine, a sense of shame and embarrassment can make you want to withdraw from the very communities and support systems that can help you the most. In my case, I was certainly frustrated, but also mad at myself for the weight regain. God damn it. I had a sense of not being in control. It happened again. How many diets have I been on throughout my life? And I started regaining the weight after the diet and then some. So my lowest weight was 225 pounds. Going from 450 to 225 after 2 years was wonderful, as you can imagine. But slowly my weight was creeping up. And by September 2023, I ballooned back up to 320 pounds. And that was so frustrating. The emotional toll of weight regain is definitely overwhelming, and it makes you feel like a complete failure. So, here's my personal experience. I've had days where I didn't want to look in the mirror, let alone share my struggles with the world. The weight regain felt like a personal failure, a testament that I wasn't strong enough or disciplined enough. But I've come to realize this isn't true. Weight regain doesn't negate the hard work and success we've achieved. The bigger part of this whole story is why I, myself, and hundreds and thousands of other people have experienced weight regain after a diet or bariatric surgery. What are the underlying issues? What are the underlying mental issues? Why do I have such a struggle with food? And why is it that I binge eat? Is there more to my story, or is it just a coincidence that all of these people, I would say even 99% of the people that have been on a diet or have had bariatric surgery are dealing with weight regain? So here we go. How do we overcome a sense of failure? First of all, it's crucial to acknowledge and accept our feelings without judgment. It's okay to be disappointed, but we shouldn't let that define our entire journey. Reaching out for support from a therapist, a support group, a trusted friend can provide the much needed perspective and encouragement. Reframing the journey. Reframing our journey is essential. Instead of seeing weight regain as a failure, we can view it as a learning opportunity. What can we adjust in our habits or routines? How can we better support our bodies as they age? Setting small, achievable goals can help rebuild confidence and momentum. And more importantly, who out there can support us and give us some help? So, what did I do? I reached out to my own bariatric program at Toronto Western Hospital, and I was able to get an appointment with a psychiatrist that's part of the bariatric program. Dr. Richard Yanufsky is a psychiatrist and part of the University Health Network. Dr. Yanufsky has trained as a resident at the University of Toronto and completed his fellowship in consultation liaison psychiatry at the University Health Network. He works at the Toronto Western Hospital Bariatric Surgery Clinic. He's had a scholarly interest in treating psychiatric conditions in the context of bariatric surgery care. And Dr. Yanufsky was the missing piece to my journey, and I'm very thankful that I've been meeting with him ever since last September of 2023. In our conversations, we had some conversations and suggestions about using Ozempic, but then we moved on to, more importantly, a new medication that I've never heard of called Vyvanse. Vyvanse is a brand name for a medication, lisdexamfetamine dicamate. It's a part of a group of drugs called the central nervous system stimulants. They work by boosting the amounts of certain brain chemicals so you feel more alert and aware. In your blood throughout the day, Vyvanse slowly changes into another medication, dextroamphetamine. This drug increases dopamine, a chemical that's linked to your brain's motivation and reward system. When you eat something delicious or hug someone you love or work out, for example, your body releases dopamine and you feel pleasure. So, experts think that when you have BED, binge eating disorder, BED, food may trigger your brain to make extra dopamine. One theory is that taking Vyvanse could help your dopamine levels up so you don't try to feel better with food. This is what exactly has happened to me. Since October 2023, I have been taking Vyvanse, and this has really helped me with my BED, binge eating disorder. So when I eat, I feel saphoncified. I don't even sometimes feel hungry. Sometimes I forget to to eat food. So it's actually really, really helping. I'll be talking more about this medication, Vyvanse, in an upcoming episode later. But in the meantime, Dr. Yanufsky has written many papers that are available online about bariatric surgery and post-operative bariatric weight regain. So in some of my research, I came across a guide called the Bariatric Surgery Handbook that was also co-written by Dr. Yanufsky and is shared with bariatric patients at Toronto Western Hospital. But buried deep on page 25 of this particular handbook, near the end of the document, is a section about weight regain. And basically, in my opinion, this topic of weight regain should be on page 1 of the handbook, really, because It's really, really important for people to know that this can happen. So in the handbook was written, quote, unquote, weight regain. It is common and normal for people to regain some weight after reaching their lowest weight after surgery. Weight regain refers to regain of significant weight after an initial successful response to surgery. The Ontario Bariatric Network defines weight regain as a 15% rise in total body weight from your lowest weight after surgery. It is normal to be afraid of weight regain, especially if you have reached your ideal or maintenance weight. Remind yourself of all the positive changes you have made to your lifestyle and your commitment to maintaining these changes. If unhealthy eating or activity habits get out of control, it is common for people to regain the weight they lost. Remember that changes in your eating and exercise habits after surgery are part of your new lifestyle. You will need to follow them for the rest of your life. Unquote. So that's what's in the book. And so again, the very reason for me not to give up, even though the cards are stacked up against my success, the message is not to give up, but to be diligent and do some extra research into the whole topic and share this with the world, which I can do with this new podcast as well. So, embracing the journey, not just the destination. So finally, it's important to remember that wellness is a lifelong journey, not a destination. There will be ups, there will be downs, there'll be victories and setbacks. Each step, no matter how small, is progress. Sharing our struggles can inspire and support others who are facing similar challenges. So definitely, if anybody would like to join my podcast, if anybody has any questions, send in your questions. And we can discuss your question online as well in the podcast. So thank you so much for joining me today on Finding Wendy, my journey of wellness. If you're experiencing weight regain and feeling like a failure, know that you're not alone. We're all in this together, and there's strength in sharing stories and supporting each other. So, until next time, take care of yourself and keep finding your way to wellness. This has been Finding Wendy, my journey to wellness. I'm Wendy Lamberti, and I look forward to sharing more with you next time. Have a wonderful day.